Telecom is also, Telecom Malaysia is also involved in fiber rail. Fibercom is a collaboration between Telecom Malaysia as well as TNB. They use the TNB pylon to hang their cables for transmission, the high tension cable, as well as there's one cable. If you look at the cable lower hanging with some balls apart, those are basically where the balls are concealing the connection, where the length of different lengths of fiber cable must be connected. But it has also evolved into some other forms of connection, of protection for all those connected fiber cables. But whatever it is a good business model where you deploy bandwidth through fiber cables which are hung across many hundreds kilometers of this electricity pylon. So you save on digging, but of course the fiber degrades because the fiber optics were exposed to the elements, wind, rain, sun, and the heat, and so on. And fiber rail Telecom takes a significant share equity, and this is a combination of multiple parties, with the railway line KTM as one of the key conduit. They line the fiber optics along the north-south railway lines, straight lines, so that became the backbone, backhaul supplies, the grid. And of course, Time Telecom, as you know, they took over from many other former entities, and most of their, I think their cable is now about 16 years old. They lined along the north-south highway as well. So all this infrastructure, whether it's roads, railways, and also electricity pylons, it became the conduit or the convenient route for all this backhaul. And it is a very exclusive club because it involves a lot of investment, and that is where you have only few players who may dictate the prices of the bandwidth. If our bandwidth is so low, every few months I visited Singapore, I become heartsick and heartache. The latest I went together with Dr. Mohammed, and Dr. Mohammed was scouting for the pricing tariff, the rate card of 100 megabits per second bandwidth, 100 meg. Right now, paling maximum ADSL for Streamix in Penang, only 4 meg. We're talking about 100 meg, that is 25 times faster. It's priced at 39 Singapore dollars. 100 meg. Now, Singapore, the chicken rice at the hawker store is still $4.50. Lebih kurang sama dengan kita, dollar for dollar. They are pricing $39 per 100 meg. Susah hati kita. We are still paying about 168 ringgit for a 10 megabit per second line. So that's the comparison. Now, fixed lines, you have the telephone, but not many players are willing to go into the telephone because even though in your home you have a telephone and a mobile phone, but the first thought that you want to make a phone call is taking your mobile phone rather than the telephone. So telephone, a lot of homes, they moved into the new homes without fixed line telephone for now. But you have DG still service the business customers. As I know, Guanghua, the daily newspaper subscribe to DG. But of course, Jaring will be unhappy. Marissa, that I don't say. PDC Telco supports anything if it is not Telecom Malaysia. So PDC Telco subscribe to Jaring for all our fixed line needs and the faxes. So, and we have been well serviced. Thank you so much, Marissa. And we have cellular. First generation cellular has died. The 011 has died. 018 has died. They have moved on into 2G, 2.5G, 3G, 3.5G, and so on. Now people are talking about 4G. Whatever it is, they still need to have backhaul. So they have to come back to people like Time Telecom, Telecom Malaysia. But there are so many choices. That is the last word. There are so many NFPs. There are so many NSPs. So let's talk about this. If people tell you development plans must get TM approval, true or false? SKMM will only recommend Telecom Malaysia. There's one developer who came to us and told us so. The development area is in Kampung Bengali, by the way, MPSP. So MPSP's area will advise them to get endorsement. And MPSP is hands off, go and get whatever endorsement. So they went to SKMM because I said SKMM became the de facto regulatory body for all telecommunication structures. And then I was told that SKMM asked them to go back to Telekom Malaysia. So SKMM 1998 came into being, they asked them to go back to 1991. So this is history. Build your telecom infrastructure at your own cost. Then surrender them all to Telecom. Just like you build the TNB substation and you surrender to TNB. True or false? Do you have to build your telephone structure and surrender to Telecom Malaysia? We are going to deal with this afterwards. And more telecom needs. Consultants. Consultants from the real estate industry involve 5. We call them SPEED. S-P-E-A-D. S, surveyors. P, planners. E, engineers. A, architects. Of course, D is developers. If you happen to fall either one of the 5 categories, please wake up for a while. Now, if your consultant come and say and tell you, hey, fiber tak boleh buat lah, mahal lah, kenapa buat fiber, buat copper cukup lah. You need to be careful. This is a conman. It's not a consultant. Right? We will tell you the price differential afterwards. When your contractor say, no, you must do copper, there's no fiber network in Penang yet. If you connect, you do fiber, you cannot connect for your customers. No phone lines. Is that true or false? We'll deal with this afterwards. And as SKMM says, when you refer to, you must refer to TM. And I think we have to take this at a different level because we have to talk to the regulatory. And I expect you to report to us, to PDC Telco, if it is indeed such a situation where SKMM in Penang, in Seberang Perai, refers you to Telecom for whatever kind of deployment. Now, going back to what the consultants or the contractors say, that there's no fiber network in Penang, you can't connect. If you build fiber and then the last mile or even the backhaul is not on fiber optics. Now the answer is that when telecom communication companies, whether it's Maxis or a cellular operator or fixed line, people like Telekom Malaysia, the first thing they sell you nowadays is no longer a telephone line. It's no longer a fax line, but it's a package with data running at the forefront. For the residential users, they will rather sell you either Streamix or Unify. Penang, you can't talk about Unify except in Seberang Jaya, as well as on the fringes of this area, Bukit Jambul. Even that also, when they say they offer you 6 meg or 5 meg, it might not be having the fiber at the backhaul. Somehow you will come to a bottleneck because around this area they are still deploying over DSL, having tweaked DSL solutions. So be careful. But whatever it is, telecommunication companies, services providers, NSP, they are selling more data package rather than fixed line for the voice call. That is a trend. You can't run away. So backhaul is now more in fiber optics because of such change. Wireless has also have to depend on fiber for their backhaul. For example, when I was dealing with the illegal towers 2009 in Penang, when I took over, there were 800 odd structures, whether it's a self-standing pole or the rooftop cabins, 800 plus, out of which 600 plus were illegal. That means they have never applied for approval from MPSP or MPPP. Never. We have to legalize that. We took several months to formulate a converged version of all the rules and regulations from Kementerian Perumahan dan Kerajaan Tempatan, and also from the Ministry of Health and also SKMM, to have a guideline for the towers structure and basically for 2G and 3G deployment. And we found that the telcos are facing some problem. They depend on microwave transmission. take the example of the smallest player among 3G before U-Mobile came into being. They used to shoot through the microwave from Berjaya Hotel, Pulau Tikus, to Vistana Hotel in Bayan Baru, a line of sight of about 7.5 kilometers. The traffic used to be sufficient based on STM1, 155 meg. It has since changed. That same line of sight, the traffic on data has jumped from 155 meg to 2.5 giga. So that is the kind of industry change that even the wireless cellular players has to depend on fiber for backhaul. Fiber is getting into more homes and premises, and let me tell you, we are behind Sungai Petani. Kedah lebih maju daripada kita. There's one place, small but very comprehensive. It's called Laguna Merbok or Berbok Laguna. Laguna Merbok. They have less than 500 houses. All are landed properties. But all this are lined with their little metropolitan ring, and all the homes are supplied with high-speed broadband, which is much faster than Unify. Think about it. It was not in Penang, but it was in Kedah. But fiber to the homes was not the first in Penang, or was not the first in Sungai Petani. The first was in Kota Kinabalu. And the person who laid the cables for fiber to the home in Kota Kinabalu is right here with us. That's Dr. Muhammad Awanglah. Thanks, Doctor, for leading us. Kota Kinabalu was far ahead than us. So what is the fear in you that you don't want to do fiber to the homes? Now, in Singapore, I said I became heartsick because one of the resellers for Singapore's high-speed broadband was boasting away. You know, Singapore people always boast in front of us. They say in Singapore, with the support of the government, you must fiberize all the premises, whether it's the factories, it's a building, office building, or the homes. 100 megabit per second is a must, and 100 megabit per second is a base, just the starting point. So, I leave it to you for your imagination. So, in order to deploy this, we have had a very good experience working together with PDC, the technical group, PDC Consulting, and also PDC Property, looking at how to really make a showcase out of this, what is already being enjoyed in Sungai Petani, Kota Kinabalu, and earlier than us in Singapore, that we can do the catching up if we do the right thing fast, and I think we should be on par with them within the next 2 years. So that's where we look at certain things that we want to share with you today. I think my team has made available all this for you to take back. That's basically, we need to follow the guidelines so that we save on cost, because we can eradicate mistakes. We look at some models being done without being oblivion to all these guidelines. There were wrong specifications, there were over specifications, there were certainly under specifications as well. So there are certain guidelines, and this became the effort of Malaysian Technical Standards that I talked about, one of the 4 forums. Number 1 is guideline for the next generation NGN realization. This was originally a technical code registered with MCMC. However, in 2006, it was adopted as a Malaysian standard with SIRIM at the back. So it became 1903 a Malaysian standard, MS 1903, 2006. So this is one we need to follow. There's also another technical code registered with MCMC, that is Technical Standards of In-Building Fiber Cabling for Fiber to the Premises. Now, fiber to the homes is not a specific noun. Fiber to the premises, fiber to the buildings, fiber to the factories, fiber to a lot of other things. So most of the modern technology, they refer that to FTTX. X can stand for any form of structures. So these 2 guidelines are basically guidelines laid down by MCMC in collaboration with the Technical Standards Forum. The second one for fiber to the home was as early as 2010. But for today, I invited Dr. Bernard Lee, who is the Vice President of Fiber to the Home Council Asia Pacific to be with us to tell us more. And in the long run, we are sharing with our clients. And on the first clients of ours is PDC Group of Companies, that by adhering to the two guidelines, in fact, we have some other inputs and insights that we can help you further save on deployment costs. So it's good to stick around with us, PDC Telco, Dr. Muhammad, and as well as Dr. Bernard Lee and all the team, that we can even have more cost-saving measures and also viable models apart from following these two guidelines. Of course, when you bury your fiber optics network, it's going to last for at least 30-35 years. So you do not want to have line cut situation to happen, and you need to lay your cables in such a manner that you will ukur dan pemetaan Malaysia. So this is JUPEM. JUPEM has also given us two guidelines. One is the standard guidelines for underground utility mapping, 2006, and the other one is garis panduan ukuran pemasangan utility bersangkutan dengan infrastructure telekomunikasi. So these are the 4 pieces of guidelines which we will provide for you to take back home as a point of reference. And of course, for us, PDC Telco, as you know, PDC Telco was appointed as the sole implementer of the Telecommunications Common Trenching System, Sistem Peparitan Telekomunikasi Bersepadu. Pemilik projek ialah CMI, Chief Ministers Incorporated, satu agensi pelaburan di bawah Kerajaan Negeri Pulau Pinang, and this was given to us to be the sole implementer for the common trenching system by the state government. And because of that, we are involving a lot of service providers, a lot of NSP and FP. So we have already worked together with JKR, Negeri Pulau Pinang, and also the PBTs. We worked with MPPP for a start, but this has been decided that it will be implemented across the state. So MPSP, you'll save the trouble of going through the meetings, but you inherit a standard as operating procedure untuk proses peparitan. The work permits will still remain to be issued by the PBT as well as the JKR. And we, PDC Telco, will invest a statewide next generation network. At least is sufficient to provide all the access for all the players for the next 30 to 35 years. It will come in the form of ducts, duct fiber for lease, as well as bandwidth for deployment. And we will also take the responsibility of managing this underground utility database. We will host it on the cloud. Authorized user can access all this data, and ultimately the data will be shared with the utility database part at Japan. And I invite that PBT, JKR, as well as this real estate developers community to work together with us, PDC Telco, to understand what your investors want. And today here we have also a representative from Invest Penang. They know far more better than all of us because they are the trade promotion body representing the Penang State. They can, during tea break, you can ask Invest Penang representative that what are the kind of demand and needs described by the international class investors when they come to invest in Penang. And NGN to us in PDC Telco is also one of the ways to future-proof Penang. And I'd like to announce that we will be introducing our sales kit whenever you meet. Is for the sake of Invest Penang. Our corporate profile detailing 3 areas. One, the location of choice for investment, representing and also complementing what Invest Penang is doing. And then we also have a technical compilation of all the guidelines involved, apart from the 4 that we mentioned to you just now, 2 from Japan and 2 from SKMM. We also have technical fact sheets when it comes to how to deploy NGN within your development area, as well as fiber to the home solutions available in town. So we'll make that available somewhere after Chinese New Year. So we'll be sending all these copies for you. And knowing what the investors want is very important, because all these are economic activities. When people come to JKR, PBT for all the approvals, is basically with the commercial concern in mind, that they put in money for development. They wanted to be shielded from all the changes, especially when it comes to communication. Communication telephone line does not come as a second thought, but it is one of the key utilities, as important and as real-time, critically mission critical deployment like water, power, and now we have telecommunication, world class. So here the investors are demanding for quality of service, career grade, low latency, and get it more from investment about what the customers want. And also we are looking at a network redundancy with feeds, with service provisioning coming from different operators. And this is very important. You don't want to have a telecoms line kena putus di Rawang, and then your bandwidth here is affected. You wanted to have a routing, automatic routing to another service provider. So redundancy is one. And fiber to the premises solutions. I'm glad to announce that we also have representative from Sumitomo Japan, Sumitomo Electric. So I'd like to welcome all this. And because of that, what I want you to take home after this little workshop is that we need to approach all this together, the stakeholders, PDC Telco as the sole implementer for Penang state government, the PBT as the guardian of all the rules and regulations for state for development purposes, as well as JKR, where your roads will be trenched by so many operators, so we need to have a coordinated approach. So all this is that we need to support you. Apart from the workshop, PDC Telco will try to work with partners to create a center of excellence for NGN and FTTH, so that we become a point of reference whenever you need technical consulting. We also we are looking into ways to provide a kind of academic enhancement for the players in the form of training and certification for NGN, FTTH contractors and personnel. In fact, today we'll be meeting with Dato' Munla, PSDC, to talk about this, since we have grouped together all our experts from so many areas. Certification for NGN, FTTH equipment and facilities. We have basically we have these three parties, but we can have more if the needs be. And ultimately, we will introduce the star ranking for hotels, then the star ranking for buildings in Penang. That's what we call the emblem system, which is already practiced in Korea as well as Taiwan and Japan. So we will have more information for you on all this. But all in all is basically that what we are embarking now, we are not working alone. We are connected with the broadband highway in terms of global partnership. PDC Telco is in collaboration with MyNewTrans, which is different from others when it comes to the backhaul, because it is a neutral player who will not compete at the end user area. And it's my pleasure to announce the presence of Dr. Muhammad Awangla. Please. So this is Dr. Muhammad. For all those you know who started your email with jaring.net, that's the man behind all this. And we have also FTTH Council Asia Pacific is represented by Dr. BL, right? It is a Penang night. I'm so pleased to have a Penang night coming back to Penang to help us. And we also have many collaborators when it comes to fiber to the home. And with us today is from Sumitomo Electric. Can we please welcome Mr. Noguchi Daisuke. With that, I wish you a fruitful seminar for today. Thank you very much.